Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, and for the 100th time, welcome to Pangolin, the conservation podcast, the show dedicated to exploring and amplifying the world's underappreciated conservation stories, the stories that inspire me, and I hope 100 times over will inspire you too. I'm your host, Jack Baker, and today we are celebrating our 100th episode. I'm so excited with something that is just truly special. We are not only going to be reflecting on what it means that we are here and that we made it and that there are just so many people to thank, but also we are going to be having a lot of fun because we are going to be ranking the most underappreciated and misunderstood creatures from around the world. Now, obviously, that is a huge task because we are covering birds, insects, mammals, things that live on the sea, in the sky, on the earth, under the earth, that grow from the earth. Everything that you could possibly think of, we are going to talk about. And that was impossible for me to do alone. So, to help me, I am joined by 13 amazing, incredible, wonderful, inspiring people who have dedicated their lives to helping create a healthier, happier, more just and beautiful world for us all. And they are just, I couldn't have wished for a better lineup. I love them all. They represent the past of the podcast. Most of them are guests who've been here before, and I love them all so dearly. And then we have some new friends who represent the future of the podcast and that show that we still have steam in us. We are going to go for 100 more and forever and ever and ever. And I'm just so grateful for them all being here because they represent the very best of us and they make me feel so inspired constantly. And I will thank them all throughout. But they are, in no particular order, Robi and Emma from Zoology Ramblings, Connor and Steph from Planty Zoo. We have Alicia Hayden and Natasha Hatcher, two of my favourite wildlife artists and artivists. We have Tasnia Kahandekar, who is a researcher, a friend, a dog lover, an icon of just one of the most special people who I've ever met. Love her. We have Torin Whitehead, who's a PhD candidate and wild boar enthusiast. We have Tommy Teicher and Ray Landriau, who are amazing members of the environmental education community from Consciente Collectivo and Create Change Collective. We have Indy Green and Franca Kasuku, both new guests to the show who just do incredible, inspiring, amazing work across the world, and I can't wait for you to meet them and have them on for full episodes at some point in the future. And of course, we have my Razoo co-host and one of my longest, dearest, most incredible friends, the wonderful, brilliant Jodie McFarlane. So I am just so excited because they're just the best, and they have each chosen an animal or a plant or something wonderful to highlight, and then I've ranked them. I have ranked my friends. I have ranked their suggestions, and so I know it's going to be controversial. Blame them if you don't like the results. But if you do, celebrate them. I don't know. I've done this 100 times. I still have no idea what I'm doing. So with all that being said, thank you so much 100 times over for 100 amazing episodes of support, for 100 amazing episodes of love, and for giving me 100%. How many times can I use the word 100 in this episode? Who knows? But without further ado, I love you all. I am so grateful for you all. And for the 100th time, I'm going to start crying already. Let's get started. And welcome back to the show. Thank you all so much for joining me. My name is Jack Baker, and as I said, I am the host and the creator of Pangolin, the conservation podcast. And today it is a very, very, very special day. We are at 100 episodes. And I am so excited to be here. The way it hasn't sunk in. It hasn't settled. It hasn't really, like, until this is published, I don't even think this will be, like, I don't even think it will sink in then, because I never ever thought we would get here. And I'm so excited to be here. What we're going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit for this first little section about how we got here, some of the amazing things that have happened, why I am so grateful to be here, why I'm so grateful for all of you. We're then going to rank. We're going to get into the guests, and we are going to rank the top most underappreciated creatures of all time. It was meant to be a top 10, but then I just found so many amazing people that it became a top 13. And finally, we will wrap up with a huge list of thanks that have to be given to everybody who has supported the show. And so, yeah, just to start, like, I wanted to start this podcast by going all the way back to the beginning. And yeah, I actually, so this episode comes out on December 9th, 2024. The first episode of Pangolin was published on December 15th, 2020, after it was produced as part of my master's thesis throughout the pandemic in 2020. And when I look back to that time, which was such a dark and scary and horrible time, the one thing that was light and the one thing that was love and the one thing that was I was passionate about and gave me purpose to do things rather than just sit and do nothing was the Pangolin and was this show. And when I started this as like a project for university, right? It was meant to be a couple episodes that got submitted as a kind of piece of graded work, and I never thought it would be any more than that. Once it had been submitted, once it had been marked, once I got my grade back, I then decided to publish it. And again, I never thought it would be anything. I just thought, let's put it out there. Let's see if anyone listens. Let's see if anybody cares about this story. And still, those first episodes are the most streamed episodes of all time. Even though the quality is terrible, even though the audio is bad and the sound is strange and I am so nervous, they are like still the most streamed episodes. And those episodes mean so much to me. Once they went out there, people listened, people subscribed, and I decided to do a series 2, which, was just something I'd never even dreamed of doing. But then it came, and I found 10 amazing guests, I think, for season 2. And we opened the door from just being about the pangolin to being about all underappreciated, misunderstood conservation stories. And yeah, we talked about bison, we talked about dolphins, we talked about all kinds of incredible things. Oh, one of my favorite ones of all time still is the episode we did with Arnaud Debier about the giant armadillos. Like, so fantastic and so amazing. And yeah, and then after that, like, the Lemur Conservation Network reached out to me, and we produced season 3 together, and then season 4 came, and then Razoo came, and then My Arizona Adventure came, and Good Morning Greece, and all these mini-series and all these things that I got to do, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And now we're here 4 years down the line, and constantly still, this podcast, through the stress of a PhD, through the stress of work, through the stress of life in general, through people who have come and gone, through people who I thought would be there forever and are no longer with us, has always been there. And I am so grateful to everybody who has enabled me to do this. I have been able to travel the world. I've been able to meet so many incredible friends. I've been able to do so many amazing things because of all of you. And because of the show, I've been able to travel to the US, to London, to run events with young people up and down the UK, to meet some of my conservation heroes, the people who work tirelessly to protect the species that I love, and meet the heroes I never knew I needed. Like with Pangolin Pride, I never knew I needed those people until I found them. And they're amazing, and everybody who has supported the show has enabled me to work with everybody. Why am I crying already? Because like it's just been the most fantastic, and I'm so grateful for the journey that we've been on together. Every step of the way has been enabled by the love and support of everybody else. I could not have done it without everybody else. I couldn't have done this alone. And yeah, I am so grateful to the little pangolin that inspired me during the pandemic. And I'm so grateful to every wonderful person who has come along since then. And as I've said in every presentation, in every talk, in every single moment of the show that I can, every time I'm in front of an audience, the thing that's kept me going apart from the pangolin, right, is this joy and love that I have for nature and for the natural world. And in that experience, like at university when I was producing this, I was told that joy and wonder and childishness and was nothing. And it was nothing to be proud of. And it was something to be repressed and pushed down because that gets you nowhere. And I was told that people like me don't succeed because I am whatever I am. And I look back now, and the advice that my supervisor at university gave me after that incident where I was told all those things, where she said to keep hold of the childhood joy because that's what makes you special. Keep hold of what makes you you because that's what makes you special, and that's what makes your perspective unique. That advice to protect that flame of joy has been the best advice I've ever had, and it's the thing that I've carried with me throughout all of this is joy and love and being authentically 100% you. And even if it's hard, and even if there's horrible things going on in the world, if you can protect that joy and keep it safe, you can keep going. And I look back at the last 100 episodes and I think about the person who told me that I would go nowhere. And I say this with all the humility in the world. Insert whatever words you would like to describe that person there. I did it, and I did something, and you can't tell me that joyful people and passionate people can't make a difference, because this podcast has changed my life, and all of you who've reached out and told me that it's inspired you to get new jobs, or it's taught you something you never knew, or it's made you donate to a charity, or it's made you volunteer your time, or it's inspired you to use your art or your music for something more than maybe you ever thought it could be, or you've started your own podcast, or you've come to a podcasting workshop with me, or you've done any of these things. All of that is because you have joy and you have something special too. And yeah, I am so grateful I didn't let that negativity win. I'm so grateful we're here. I'm so grateful for all of you and the joy and the love and the passion you carry within you. And I'm so grateful to every single person who supported the show. Like, I can't believe we are here at 100 episodes. If I was to look back, I could go on for hours telling you about how it felt to meet like Patricia Medici and talk about the tapirs. I could go on and tell you how special it was to go to the first ever Chester Zoo Youth Symposium and stand in front of a room full of people in a zoo that has meant the world to me since I was a child and talk about the work that I was doing. It could tell you how much it meant to me when each of your messages came in during Pangolin Pride saying how important those speakers were to you as they were to me. I could tell you how amazing all of those things have been. But I'd be here for far too long because every moment has been just the best. And I'm so grateful for it. And if this is your first episode, I don't usually cry this much. But thank you for joining us for the ride because, yeah, it's been the passion and the pleasure of my life to talk to all of you. And I will never, ever stop. I will never, ever stop. thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will say it all again at the end, but thank you so much. Like, you're just the best. Now, having said all of that, I'm going to pull myself together. We're going to regroup. We're going to regroup. And we are going to do something amazing, which is normally on Pangolin, you get one guest. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you get two guests. I think maybe at one point I've had three. I can't remember at this moment. I'm too overwhelmed by emotion. But today, I am bringing you 13 of the best, the brightest, the most brilliant voices from across the world of conservation to help create a list of the most underappreciated and underloved and under everythinged animals in honor of the show, right? We've spent 100 episodes celebrating these wonderful creatures, everything from hornbills to giraffes to Lake Titicaca frogs. We have talked about them all, and now we're going to make a definitive ranking, a definitive and probably controversial ranking of the top most underappreciated bizarre creatures. Now, I sent out instructions to each person, and the instructions were as follows. You can nominate anything you want. You then have a minute to 2 minutes to pitch to me why that animal is the most underappreciated thing of all time, right? The most misunderstood, whatever it is, why is it there? They didn't necessarily have to be critically endangered. They didn't necessarily have to be on the brink of extinction. They didn't necessarily even have to have a conservation storyline with them, right? If you have if the guests had an animal that they just loved, or a plant or a thing that they just loved, like they could just tell me a personal story about it. I just wanted their reasoning for why something was underappreciated. The only caveat I have put in place is that they could not pick the pangolin. Now, I know we are called Pangolin, but I think the good news that has come with this show is that it started named after the pangolin, which was the most misunderstood and misrepresented creature at that time in my eyes. That would have been number one. But now, the pangolin, I know it's not out of the woods. I know the problems aren't fixed. But there is so much more awareness around it. There is so much more kind of going on around it. And I feel like it would undermine every single piece of work that I've ever done if I said it was still the most underappreciated, because it would mean my audience was not doing anything with the information I was giving them. And I know that isn't true, because you're all going out into the world and doing amazing things. So they could not pick the pangolin. Also, I'm biased and would definitely have put it at number one. So that is the only exception. They had to pick an animal, pitch it to me, and yes, and not the pangolin. So any pangolin lovers out there, you can imagine it at number one, because maybe I'll do that. But that's the only thing. Okay? So I am going to recap the guests again. We have Robi and Emma from Zoology Ramblings, a brilliant podcast. Both of them been guests on the show before. Incredible, wonderful, amazing people. Go listen to their podcast. And similarly, go and listen to Connor and Steph's Planty Zuzu. Like, both incredible podcasts. 4 incredible guests for me. Alicia Hayden and Natasha Hatcher are 2 of my favourite wildlife artists and artivists. Their work is inspiring, incredible. They've both been on the show. They both do very different styles of artwork, and yet both inspire positive change, raise funds, do incredible things, tell incredible stories. We have Tasnia Kahandakar, who is a researcher, a friend. We met in St Andrews when I was first producing these episodes of the podcast before the pandemic hit, and she to me represents the light that needs to never go out in this world. She is such a ray of sunshine and so incredible. We have Torrin Whitehead, who's a PhD candidate and a dear friend who sits back to back to me in my office every single day working on wild boar things and is just brilliant, and his mind is incredible, and the arguments he makes are so well thought out, and so just the talent in his brain is just so... I'm always in awe of the amount of work he is able to do. We then have my friends from the North American Association for Environmental Education's 30 Under 30 list. We have Tommy and Ray. They do incredible work with their organizations Consciente Colectivo and Create Change Collective. Tommy has been recently on the show during the Pride Month series talking about that environmental education work. I was lucky enough to meet him when we went to the conference in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We got to share a room and share so many incredible memories. And I am so grateful for his love and support. He is incredible. Go and support Consciente Colectivo. He's brilliant. He tells people I speak Spanish, but that's a lie, and I'm trying my best to learn. But so far, we've got C, and I'll get the rest of it. We'll get there. I'm trying my best, and maybe one day that's a goal. And within the next 200 episodes, I want to do an episode entirely in Spanish with you, Tommy. That's the goal. We then have Ray, of course, who I met in Tucson, who is just the most incredible, wonderful soul. Does incredible work with Create Change Collective, creates the most creative, wonderful colouring books. We then have Indy and Franca, who are both new guests to the show, doing incredible work. Like, I have been lucky enough to meet Indy just once, and I could see his passion and light. I've only met Franca during online sessions and through text, but she is fabulous and her work is incredible. And then, of course, we have Jodie, my Rizoo co-host, one of my best friends in the whole world, who just, represents the very, very best of us. And I should say that every one of these people, Connor and Steph, Robi and Emma, Alicia, Natasha, everybody, they are the reason I do what I do. And they're just fantastic. And therefore, the perfect panel to have picked animals. So you can't be mad at whatever they've chosen, because I will fight you, because they're just the best. Having said that, one of them had to come last. And unfortunately, at number 13 on the list of 13 on the most underappreciated animals of all time is still pretty good, because there was a whole lot more you could have picked from. So number 13 on the list of the most underappreciated creatures of all time is my friend, is the person who made my first ever Chester Zoo Youth Symposium so special. It is Connor Davis.
Hi Jack, it's Connor from Planty Zuzu. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. That's absolutely incredible. I'm not surprised at all, because you have a wonderful, wonderful podcast. And I'm glad that you've got this far and made it what it is. I would like to nominate as my underappreciated animal, the Wolverine. Mainly because it is one of my absolute favourite animals to talk about at Zoo. We've got a group of them, and people often think that they're just slightly kind of bigger, angrier badgers, or, the one we get the most is that they're baby bears, which I can see, because when you kind of see them as a visitor, they might just look kind of small and brown like a bear, but actually, if you get kind of to spend a bit more time or see them a bit closer, they are absolutely gorgeous. They're incredible. They're really charismatic, really, really clever. And they are just so perfectly suited to their environments out up kind of around the Arctic that they're absolutely amazing. They've got these teeth for crunching through ice so they can bury their food and re-dig it up in winter. And they're just absolutely amazing. Really, really fantastic creatures. So I don't think they get enough love as they should. So I've chosen the Wolverine.
And yes, so we're starting at number 13 with, I think, a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous choice from Connor. Now, the reason it's at number 13 is nothing personal. It is nothing to do with Connor. It is purely that I have been accused a million times of having a mammal bias. And while I love Wolverines, I think I had to put them low. Now, that's not that I don't love them. It is just that when you see everything else that's coming, they had to be slightly lower on the list for me. They are, despite that, they are brilliant. I love them because they are the largest land-dwelling members of the weasel family. And so they are very close to other creatures like honey badgers and otters and things that I love. And if you've heard us talk on Rizoo, we have talked about wolverines at length. We have talked about otters at length. That family is well loved by us. And I think that also maybe worked against it, right? Because we can't put everything at number one. There has to be something there. And yes, so at number 13, we have the Wolverine. I love it. But unfortunately, it's number 13. Having said that, from one mammal to another. That's not a setup for a joke of me being like, from one mammal to another. Hey, Connor's name can't be mentioned without me making terrible jokes. I'm so sorry. Connor is wonderful. He doesn't make terrible jokes. I just make terrible jokes when I'm around him. So, from one mammal to another, we are going in at number 12 with the incredible Franca. What are you giving us, Franca?
Hey Jack, it's Franca from Biophilic Conversations. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. Well, I am nominating the dolphins, and this is because not so much is said about their intelligence. I think more and more people need to learn about dolphins.
Yes, 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 yes. I am so glad somebody brought up dolphins because I love them. They are some of the most intelligent animals. We actually, way back in season 2, we also, I'm so glad because we get to do this because there's a throwback to season 2 here where we talked about the work that was going on in the Mediterranean to identify them using their fins and their faces, and how each of these dolphins, despite the fact that everybody looks at them and thinks, oh, it's just a fancy fish. No, they are incredibly, they're mammals, first of all. They are also so incredibly diverse and so incredibly special. And I think also what we don't appreciate is their diversity, right? We often think of dolphins as animals of the ocean, for example, but river dolphins have some of the most engaging stories with the threats that they face. The legends which surround them are fascinating, and the fact that some of them are pink. I mean, come on now, we need to love them. We also some of my best friendships are based on the fact that we were sending each other memes about orcas sinking rich people's yachts. So, there's a lot going on there, and lots of multiple levels to love dolphins. And I think it is so brilliant that they get brought up. And if you want to kind of learn any more about them, I highly encourage going back to season 2 and listening to the episode on dolphins because, I remember it all too well, and it was brilliant. And so dolphins we have at number 12. Now, at number 11, we are moving up, and we have our first non-mammal. Get nervous if you're the people who submitted things. This might be yours. Who knows who's coming at number 11? Well, at number 11, we have, with our first bird on the list, the incredible Alicia Hayden. Take it away, Alicia.
Hey Jack, it's Alicia. I was on the podcast relatively recently, and congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. That's super exciting. I'm not remotely surprised you managed to do that, but I am impressed. You asked me to nominate a underrepresented or underappreciated species, and it's pretty tricky because my instinct was just to go for one of my favourite animals, but then I thought that was a bit of a get out of jail free kind of cop out. So I actually thought about it, and I would like to nominate the pigeon, because I think that is very underappreciated, and if anything, people don't like them. So the reason I want to nominate pigeon is because actually I think it's one of the easiest ways for people to get engaged with the natural world, because pigeons are everywhere. There are so many different kinds of pigeon, and I think there's something very comical and characterful about the way that they just go around. They're so resilient, they've colonized our cities, and they're in areas which not many other things can happily exist, and they thrive. And they're also so important for our ecosystems. They provide they're an essential prey item for many predators. And they're also amazing flyers. They're one of our most impressive flyers if we actually think about it. If pigeons were not as common as they were, then we'd probably celebrate them just as much as we do with all of our other species. And so I think I want to put pigeons in because they are accessible for people, so they help people connect with the natural world. They're really easily identifiable, which I think again helps increase people's connection to the natural world. They have an impressive navigation abilities. They have amazing sensors that help them navigate, including their sense of smell. They are very impressive flyers. There is so much I think as well, they're just iconic because they just persist. Like, if we're thinking about an animal that is charismatic, that persists in society, I think the pigeon has to be up there. So I just think that we should appreciate them more and just give them a bit more love and less hate, because they're impressive. And also the reason they're on my brain is because there was some shagging on top of my roof this morning, so they they were being quite loud. But even then, I still love them, and I'm glad they got some love in. Anyway, congratulations again on 100 episodes, and I'll see you very soon.
Honestly, I'm shocked that it took us to get to number 11 to like mention animal reproduction of any kind. Especially live animal reproduction. I think that's a wonderful sighting that you've seen. Perhaps can inspire some artivism somewhere, or just some people at home to be confused as to how pigeon reproduction happens. I remember when I went to London Zoo a while ago, they had a baby Victoria crowned pigeon, and it was the first time and the only time I think I've ever seen a baby pigeon. And they are weird looking things, but they are incredibly cute. And so I hope that you get some baby pigeons in your life soon. But I love this choice because, right, it represents so many things we love on the show, right? It represents an urban connection to nature, right? Like, we don't have to go far away from what our homes to find wild things. Wild things are all around us and can be beautiful and bizarre if we take the time to appreciate them, right? We see, and so often people jump or are scared of pigeons or see them like rats of the sky, right? And that's just rubbish, because they're so fascinating and so beautiful. And as Alicia said, right, they have incredible navigation, senses. They are incredible flyers. Like, there is so much more that meets the eye with them. And they persist. They show how nature, much like this show, has persisted through all kinds of incredible hardship that is thrown against it. And yes, incredible choice. The only reason the pigeon is not higher is there is another UK bird that is even further up the list. So I kind of had to cap UK birds getting higher up the list. And also, Alicia, you should have known this, because one of my favourite animals, if you'd listened to the show, I'm sure you have, but you would know, one of my favourite animals of all time, not just birds, is the Victoria crowned pigeon. The blue colour, the blue feathers that stick up on the top of their head, the burgundy chest, the red eyes, they are incredible. The fact that, like, they own a space. They walk around a space like, oh, there's a person here? Well, that's nice. I'm about a fifth of the size of a person and I will still beat it in a fight. So don't try me. And I love them so much because of that. So if you don't know what a Victoria crown pigeon is, go and look it up. If you do know, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you are my type of listener. Thank you so much. And they are just brilliant. So that's the only reason it's not higher on the list. Okay? The only reason. Now, number 10. Number 10 is another UK related issue. So we're circling around the UK a little bit here, but I think this one is very different to the pigeons. Also involves reproduction, but in a very different way. I don't even think it gets mentioned out loud in the little clip that I've got, but it's to do with how animals get into places and spread. So, at number 10. Oh, we've entered the 10. Sorry, first three. We've entered the top 10. At number 10. Please show some love for the wonderful Torrin.
Hi Jack, it's Torrin from King's College London. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. That's really incredible. Well done. The species I'm nominating today for your top 10 is wild boar. I'm nominating them to raise awareness of this beautiful animal, which is now present in the United Kingdom after a 700-year absence, which is pretty crazy. But it has not been smooth sailing. They were introduced accidentally, with animals escaping from wild boar farms, and illegally too, perhaps by maverick rewilders interested in wild boar's restorative powers for the environment, and hunters interested in them for sport. Their topsy-turvy return has meant that wild boar are listed in England as neither native or non-native, which is a little strange, and instead they're listed as an animal which is no longer normally present. And this legal limbo has caused all sorts of problems for the boar themselves and the people living alongside them. And there's no doubt that they can be difficult to live with. They are very boorish, but if we can strike a balance, then they could flourish again once more. And wouldn't that be wonderful, Jack? A magnificent beast working its magic, helping to create rich and diverse landscapes for people and nature.
And that is how you make an argument. Torrin, I love the ability that Torrin has to communicate science so succinctly and so beautifully. And you can see why I gave him all those compliments in the beginning about his brains. Like, yeah, excellent choice. The Wild Boar is a really interesting story, and it's the kind of story we love on the show, right? And being around Torrin and hearing about it all the time, the reason we love it is because it's complicated, because it's important, and because it's such a good example of how human-wildlife kind of interactions have real and important impact on people's lives every day, right? And it also brings in this idea of politicization of kind of species and wildlife issues and conservation issues and nature issues and rewilding. It brings in so many debates, and it's so complicated. And we had an hour-long podcast recently with Torrin, and it still was not enough time to dive fully in. But go and listen to that if you want more details, because it's one of those issues that like highlights how complicated work in this space can be sometimes. And I'm so grateful to Torrin for submitting this, because the Wild Boar choice is fascinating, and having observed some of his work and heard about some of the things that he's doing, it's one of those problems I'm like glad it's not mine to solve, because fascinating stuff. Now, number 9. We are moving away from mammals, we're moving away from birds, we're moving away from all of the animals to an entirely different sphere. Because at number 9, we have the other host of Planty Zoo, who I know is so happy her animal plant suggestion, whatever her suggestion is, no spoilers, is higher than Connor's. So please, be upstanding, put your hands together for the incredible Steph.
Hi Jack, it's Stephanie from Planty Zoo. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes, that's so amazing. I'm nominating a plant species for underappreciated, because I think plants are way more underappreciated than literally any animal. I'm going to nominate dandelions. So dandelions are often seen as weeds in the UK, beautiful yellow flowers. And there's absolutely no reason to think of them as something that shouldn't be there. They also have that stage where they're really fun to blow on, and then they go fly away, and it's really like whimsical and magical. So I just think they're like a very beautiful, whimsical, magical plant that bring a pop of colour to your lawn, and I don't know why people don't like them. They're also very good for bees and wasps and, pollination, everything. So basically, I don't know what everyone's problem is. They are fantastic. It was between this and daisies, but I think daisies do have a bit of appreciation, but dandelions don't. That's what I am introducing. Bye!
I love this. Number 1, plant awareness is so low that Steph, you get bonus points just for bringing up a plant to the discussion and putting it on the table, because plant conservation is so important, and plant conservation is so complicated, and plant conservation has such an interesting history. And so I know you chose the dandelion, but much like the pangolin represents so many other things on this show, the dandelion to me in this list represents far more than just the dandelion, right? Plant conservation has a long, complicated history that needs to be discussed. Botanic gardens have long, complicated histories that need to be discussed. Our relationship with plants, certainly in the UK, needs to be discussed. What we see as weeds need to be discussed, because dandelions are incredible. And so are daisies, but I'm glad you chose dandelions, because I would also have chosen dandelions too. I think they also represent not just, right, this failure on the part of so many of us to appreciate the plants that grow around us. They also represent childhood joy, right? That thing that we were talking about at the beginning, that ability to see joyful things in nature. Yes, we saw the robins out in nature. Maybe we loved a pigeon. Maybe we saw kind of a fox running around our neighborhood. But something about the joy of picking dandelions and blowing those seeds, or making daisy chains equally if we were to have picked daisies, is so powerful and so special. And I think reminds us all that nature has always been there for us. No matter where our memories come from, what we do, if you were lucky enough as a child to be able to be exposed to these things, it's always been there. It's always been there with us, and it always will be if we look after it. And yeah. And another thing about dandelions is, I found this out recently when I was doing some research, is the name dandelion comes from the French, and I'm going to butcher this, dent de lion, teeth of the lion. So it refers to like the leaves have like jaggy edges, so that's why it is a dandelion. It has lion's teeth around its edge, and I think that is so fantastic. And yeah, thank you to Q for their website giving me that information. And so yeah, that is why we have to have dandelions and plants somewhere on the list generally. And yeah, go outside and look beyond the birds in the bushes, look beyond the bugs crawling on the leaves, and look at the plants around you, because they are wonderful, and they also deserve our love because they are fascinating. My favourite plants, just to have a side note, the jade vine, which my drag name, if I ever do that, will be Jade Vine. Amorphophallus titanum, obviously like the biggest flower in the world. What are some of the other ones that you should go and look up if you're looking for incredible plants? Go up. Like, I have a monstera in my house that inspires me every day. Here's an embarrassing story. When I was younger, monstera are also known as cheese plants. I, as a baby, ate a bunch of cheese plant thinking it would taste like cheese and had to go to hospital. There's a fun story we never thought we'd tell on the podcast. Plants have always been there for us, guys. We need to appreciate them more. And yeah, the jade vine with its blue... moving away from that. The jade vine with its blue kind of avatar-like shape and appearance, and the Amorphophallus titanum with its scale and size and story and the way that it attracts things in, just brilliant. So, at number 9, we have, of course, Steph with dandelions. Now, we're moving up, and we're moving up fast. And so it's time to get to number 8. And number 8 comes from tension building. The incredible, the wonderful, the intelligent, the inspiring, the brilliant Tommy. Take it away, Tommy. Who have you picked?
Hola, Jack. It's Tommy Teicher from Constante Colectivo. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. I'm nominating Ñandús because not only they are the largest flyless bird in South America, but also because they have a fascinating mating system, where males are responsible for nest building, incubating the eggs, and raising the chicks. Even if they mate with multiple females, they lay their eggs in a communal nest that they incubate and guard. Also, they are incredible runners. They can reach up to 60 kilometers per hour.
Hola, Tommy! Good, fantastic, brilliant, wonderful choice. I am so glad you picked these birds, because you picked something that I know, and I know so well, but I don't even know it by this name, which made me realise how I need to expand my knowledge of these birds. So, you refer to them as Ñandús, which maybe some of our listeners would also know, but also, here, I am so familiar with them by the name of the rhea. So, anybody who was listening to that thinking, this sounds like a big bird, this sounds like maybe an ostrich or an emu, rheas. That's what you're thinking of. They are a brilliant choice because they represent, I think, something so special, which is these flightless birds, number one. They also represent something which is so bizarre and brilliant, and so huge and so wonderful and so unique, and such a beautiful representation of, like, I love you picking something that is so, close to home and represents, something that you love and are passionate about, and I love that. And yeah, all of the reasons. The communal nest, love that. The speed, love that, right? When we think about birds of this size and scale, we often think about ostriches and emus, and these guys are forgotten for no good reason at all. No good reason at all. Justice for the Ñandú, justice for the rhea. They do incredible things too. They have wings that they use like airplane rudders to steer. So they are brilliant at it. And while I've just said we shouldn't necessarily always focus on the ostrich and the emu, we shouldn't, but the family that these guys are a part of is one of my favourite families of birds. So again, bonus points for that. They win because they're part of I believe it's pronounced ratites, and even though I know I've just said this about ostriches and emus, the family also contains cassowaries, kiwis, and the extinct moa and elephant birds, which are practically dinosaurs. So Tommy, without even knowing it, you've got dinosaurs on the list. I don't know if that was your intention. I don't know if you knew how much I love cassowaries and kiwis, and therefore I would have a bias. I don't know what you know about my love of these birds, but, you know, all of them represent something that is so underappreciated and strange. These flightless birds that are found across the world that have unique features. The cassowary with its toe nail that's like of a velociraptor. The kiwi, which I saw my first ever kiwi when I was in New York, and I like went to the Bronx Zoo and I was stood there for like half an hour, and it was just fascinating, and like the way that it kind of moves, and it's so much bigger than I could have ever imagined, and just I loved it so much. I loved it so much. I just can't even explain it. And the Rhea, I have so many memories with Rhea. Like, I remember going once to a zoo when I was younger, and like I feared them because they were so big. It was like a walkthrough exhibit, and I feared the Rhea. I feared the Nandu, but like, don't fear the... Oh, there's an awful joke. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Don't fear the Reaper. Don't fear the Rhea. Do not... Like, I feared them, but at the same time was amazed by them, because as a little boy who grew up loving dinosaurs, I was like, these are the closest we're ever going to get. And then I met the cassowary, but like, you know, at that point, the Rhea, the Nandu, was the closest that I'd ever been. And yeah, a brilliant choice, a brilliant family to have brought into the arena. And yeah, for all of the reasons I've said, for all of your passion, we have the Nandu at number 8. Now, we're back to mammals. And at number 7, representing a mammal that is incredible, that is life-changing, that is environment-changing, we have Emma. Take it away, Emma.
Hey Jack, it's Emma here from Avon Wildlife Trust, and just wanted to say a huge congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. That's such an awesome milestone. And for this special episode, the species that I want to nominate is the Eurasian beaver, castor fiber. And the reason that I wanted to nominate this species is because they're just so industrious. They can transform landscapes, they capture carbon, they benefit loads of other species like bats, and they're also helping to create healthier rivers and a wilder UK and Europe. So that's my species, and a huge congratulations.
Yes. Brilliant choice, right? Beavers are objectively a correct choice. Thank you so much, Emma, for bringing them up. They should definitely be on this list, because as someone from Scotland, I needed Scottish representation on here, and the beavers of Scotland need to have the flag flown for them. Yes. Correct choice. Like, beavers have always fascinated me. I remember when I was younger, like, as I was growing up, that was a big debate that was happening about where and if, and should there be beavers, and this, that, and the next thing, And so now to be at this place where this project has done, like, the beaver reintroductions have, so much has happened with them. So many interesting things, so many important things, so many wonderful things have happened because of it. I like look back and go, there's a success story that we don't talk about enough. And while a lot of people maybe know about the beavers, I think it's this thing, right, of like, you don't appreciate quite how diverse and important the beaver is. As you said, Emma, they are a keystone species. They change the landscape. They change everything. And even in a future episode that's coming out very, very soon, recorded live at Global Bird Fair, I taught somebody, an incredible guest about... I'll not spoil who it is, but an incredible guest about an urban beaver project, right? So these animals that like we think of maybe as like changing wetlands, also now changing our urban environments as well. So such an interesting kind of choice, and I am so glad you brought it up, because it's a conservation success, it's a big tick, it's a big win, and we will have a full episode about it soon, so I don't want to spoil too many things and talk too much about it. But Emma, good, fantastic, wonderful job. Now, we are moving on to another bird. Birds really getting a good stronghold on this list. Like, you all knew I have a mammal bias, so you're playing me against myself, and I love that. I want you all to. I think when I asked all my guests, I think they probably knew. Like, oh, we want to be high? We've got to make sure not to pick a mammal, because Jack will have to move them down, because, that's all he ever talks about. I've been told. I know. And so, at number 6, we're almost at the top 5. Number 6, we have the incredible Indy Green talking about an incredible, incredible bird. Take it away. Round of applause, listeners, and take it away. I love how in my head I'm in front of an audience. Take it away, Indy.
Hey Jack, it's Indy here from the RSPB Youth Council. Massive congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. That's absolutely awesome. What an achievement. The species I'm going to be nominating is the pied wagtail. And obviously these, I kind of feel they're underrated. I feel like we don't really notice them. I kind of feel like we treat them as ants sometimes, and just kind of, as other people would do, just step on them. Not us, of course. And I feel like we can kind of find them anywhere. Like they feel like a very general species to me. You can see them in shopping centres, car parks, but also just random fields on, just in gardens, anywhere. We can see them pretty much everywhere, and they're lovely birds to enjoy wandering around with a little wagging tail behind them. But I just quite like how cheeky they are. I remember one time when I was volunteering at Sherwood, they were doing some works in the forest with a few excavators. And it was during the breeding season, and one of the pied wagtails one of the local pairs decided to nest. I can't remember where it was on the machine, but it was near the exhaust, I think, and it meant that they weren't able to use the machine for the whole time before the pied wagtails fledged. So a bit cheeky there, but I quite like it. So just causing little inconveniences, but then the rest of the time, I feel like they just sort of keep themselves to themselves. But I really quite like them. They're still not better than goshawks, which are my ultimate favourite, but in terms of underrated, I think I'll lock in pied wagtails.
And we have a winner in terms of British birds. I don't think we have another one coming up. We definitely don't have another one coming up. I'm going to tell you that for sure. No spoilers for the rest of the list. But it had to be on there, right? The pied wagtail is an animal, and there's multiple reasons I slotted it in here. Number 1, it was slotted in so high up the list because it is brilliant. Number 2, Indy's passion for it is brilliant, and I understand he caveated it. There was other species he could have picked, but I appreciate the space left for the pied wagtail, because the pied wagtail, I think the reason it's here is because of your passion, Indy, and my passion for it as well, because it represents to me, like you said, they were sassy and they were these things, they are cheeky. They are cheeky things. I have had wagtails start fights in mirrors of, when I've been sat in the car, they've started fights with themselves in the mirror of the car. They will follow you round. They will jump around, their tail constantly going up and down. How they get the name wagtail, it goes, their little tails jump up and down. And they're just so brilliant. And I think, again, the reason they're high on the list, and the reason I love them, and I think a reason that I think they should be this high on the list, is because they are, again, an accessible species. As you said, they're everywhere, but also they represent to me something which is underappreciated in that we can all get into, which is going outside and learning about birds. Not enough people know about the birds that land in their own garden. The number of people who I go on walks with who don't know what a wagtail is, even though it's sat there bouncing its little tail up and down, incredible. Brilliant, beautiful. If this was in a zoo setting, in an aviary, you'd be like, wow, look at that amazing bird. But because it's just hopping around you, you don't appreciate it. Go and learn about your local birds, guys. They are fascinating. They're incredible. They're wonderful. They are brilliant. And the wagtail is no exception. They are fascinating. I have to say, my personal favourite British bird is the robin. Solely for the reason that when I work at Edinburgh Zoo, there are so many robins there and they follow me around all the time. And a thing in Scotland, and I don't know if this is a thing around the rest of the world, but robins are meant to represent the souls, and they're meant to represent the people who have left you from your life, and they have gone to whatever you believe the next stage is. And these robins will then come to show you, send you kind of messages from them or follow you around as a representation of them. Or even in sometimes I've heard it that they are them, right? Following out to keep an eye on you. Following you around to keep an eye on you. And walking around the zoo, walking around Edinburgh Zoo where there's all these robins, I'm always like, of course I'm being watched by my grandparents in the happiest place I ever am. Like, in the place that I'm the happiest I ever am. Like, of course I am. Because that's what they would want to see, and I think robins are brilliant for that reason. But I can understand the wagtail because we're a robin, it's almost Christmas. People are loving robins. Too much sometimes, right? Show some love to other birds. Show some love to wagtails. And yes, thank you for your passion, Indy, because, that is what I think reminded me how much I love birds and how much I love British birds, and especially this guy. And yeah, go and pick up some binoculars if you're listening and go and find some other amazing birds that are around you. I know we have listeners around the world, maybe not a wagtail. Go and tell me what your favourite bird is from wherever you are, because there are so many out there if you just take the time and you have the time to go and, make space for them. It's just the correct choice. With that being said, unfortunately, the pied wagtail did just miss out on a top 5 placement. And so we're into the big leagues now, guys. The biggest of the big leagues. The biggest, most underappreciated animals. Now, if you've been keeping track, you might remember who the guests who are left are. If you haven't, this could be a total surprise. But either way, at number 5, we have an artist who's created a lot of art about these animals. The amazing Natasha. Take it away.
Hi Jack, it's Tash from Hatchling Makes. Congratulations on reaching 100 amazing episodes of your podcast. I cannot believe it has come around so fast, and I can't wait to hear your next 100 episodes. Congratulations again. The species that I am nominating for your top 10 underappreciated animals list is the maned wolf. I am nominating them because they are amazing and fascinating animals. I was lucky enough to see them at Heilbronn Zoo in Munich last summer, and I just fell in love with them. They look a little bit like a cross between a fox, a wolf, and a deer. Maned wolves are the largest canid in South America, and they often get mistaken for foxes due to their appearance, or wolves because of the name, but they are actually their own distinct species, and sadly are classified as near threatened by the IUCN Red List, and I just think more people should know about them. So if you haven't already, I encourage everybody to go and look up what a maned wolf looks like and learn more about them. They're beautiful animals and they deserve so much more attention.
Okay, so I think I have to go to Munich. No, I have seen maned wolves before and I agree. Like, just to echo, go and look at a picture of them because they are the most bizarre looking things. The legs alone with it looks like they're wearing like boots. It's like ready for a runway. They're just incredible. They're the largest canid in South America. So we've had big birds from South America. Now we've got big canids. And they're just fantastic. And the reason I put them at number 5 was because to me, the maned wolf is something that is like, I don't know, it's something that is just so beautiful and so incredible. And then on top of that, they have these features that are so useful aside from their beauty. They have these big ears, which they use to kind of hunt in the darkness, in the nighttime, because they're nocturnal. They have these kind of like long legs. They have incredible features that are so unique and they look so bizarre and they are so bizarre that and I think we've talked a lot about kind of like other carnivory spooky looking creatures, right? Before we've talked about hyenas, we've talked about these other animals, but never ever given the time or space to this animal. We've talked about wolves, but never this particular kind of animal. And I just love them. I think they're fascinating and I can see exactly why you love them, Natasha. I agree wholeheartedly. And when the listeners go and see them, they will also agree. So number 5, please go and show some love for the maned wolf because incredible stuff going on there. And that leads to number 4. And number 4 is presented by my Razoo partner in crime, my one true person who can balance me in my opinions, who can keep me moving when I see something excited. I have to follow her because otherwise we'd waste a lot of time in zoos. Talking about an animal that is near and dear to my heart and to the podcast. It is, of course, the wonderful Jodie.
Hi Jack, it's Jodie, and I'm sure I need no introduction for you. I'd be a little bit worried if I did after all of these years of friendship, but for the benefit of the listeners, I'm Jodie, and I am of course your Rizoo co-host. Can you believe that we have hit 100 episodes of Pangolin? I can't. I remember back where it all began when you were just talking about it at university, and look what that idea has grown into from there. It is amazing. Congratulations on 100 episodes, and it's been such an honour to be even a small part of that journey along with you, and it's been lovely to have the excuse to go to all these amazing zoos, so I am quite happy to have been involved. Let's do more of that in the future. But to celebrate the 100th episode, I would like to share with you all my most appreciated, underappreciated animal. And I'm sure, Jack, you will not be surprised to learn that it is, of course, the lemur. So I am privileged enough to work with these incredible animals. We have 5 species of lemur in the zoological collection that I work in, but over 100 out in the wild. And the reason that they are my favourite underappreciated animal is because they are so unique, so special. They are endemic to Madagascar. They're not found anywhere else. There's over 100 species and no 2 are the same. They're incredibly diverse and charismatic, and yet they are the world's most endangered mammal, or the world's most endangered group of mammals overall, with a staggering 98% of them threatened with extinction. So that is crazy. They need our help, and yet, for as charismatic as they are, so many people don't even know what a lemur is. I know this from working with them firsthand and educating people about this amazing species. I've had people think they are monkeys, think they're bears, think they're red pandas in the case of some of the species. So yes, I just think we need to shout about them a lot more, teach people about them, because they are incredible and they're so unique, so special, but they are in decline and they need our help. So I will shout about these little guys whenever I get the chance, because I think they are a species worth saving and worth shining a spotlight on. So yes, that is my underappreciated animal. I'm sure you will not be surprised because you have to listen to me talk about them in real life all the time. But yes. So once again, congrats on 100 episodes. Can't wait to see 100 more and see where it takes us next. Okay, bye.
And yes, of course, at number 4, we have to have lemurs. They need no introduction. We've done a whole series. We do yearly episodes with the Lemur Conservation Network. Lemurs come in because they are just the best, right? They feature so many of my favourite animals, right? The aye, the indri, the shifaka, ring-tailed lemurs, black and white ruff lemurs, red ruff lemurs even though I used to have a fear of them because they bit me once. Like, all of these incredible creatures are just so wonderful and so, like, people think they know them, but they know nothing about them. They are one of the most diverse groups of animals. They have an incredible kind of like span of looks and talents and abilities, some with kind of and habitats in which they live. They are found only in Madagascar, right? Only in this one place in the world, and yet within this one country they have become something like an icon, right? They are one of incredible significance culturally, for tourism, for conservation. They are just all of these things, and yet they are still so misunderstood and there's so little we know about them. And so that is why they are underappreciated at number 4. I love them. And on a personal note, the Lemur Conservation Network has been one of, if not the biggest supporter of the podcast for its entire run. In season 3, we did an entire series with them. Lynn from the organisation has kept in touch since then, providing incredible guests, incredible people, has helped set up the World Chameleon Day episode, for example, even though chameleons and lemurs, you might think completely unrelated, both found in Madagascar, both essential. And shout out to honorary mention to chameleons. Like, I just am so grateful to the whole Lemur Conservation Network team. I'm so grateful for Jodie bringing them up because, yes, absolutely deserve a place on this list. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a shame I couldn't include them in the top 3, but they were just pipped at the post by a couple other things. But in terms of what they've done for the show personally, and in terms of what they represent, and in terms of how they are so iconic yet so misunderstood, and so underknown and so underappreciated, right? Lemurs straight in at number 4. Now, and also, yes to more Razoos. I know this is episode 100, I think, of Pangolin. We've done maybe 30 Razoos. We're going to do more. I've been to the Bronx. I've been to Central Park. I've been to Pittsburgh. Jodie's been to Australia and South Africa, and we haven't recorded an episode in like 6 months. There will be more Razoos. Do not worry if you're a fan of that, because yes, I'm so excited. And also I love that Jodie found any excuse to bring up a red panda, because of course she did. Now, having said that, let's move on. Let's get to the top 3. The most important 3. No, I'm joking. Let's get to the top 3. And I am so excited, because I think, to me, each of these top 3 represents something that is core to the podcast, right? They are like my top 3 contenders. They are my finalists. They are my stars. Only one can be number 1. But each of them means so much to me for different reasons, and I'm so glad that people suggested them, because they have absolutely nailed the trio of things. Now, the first one at number 3, the thing that it represents to me, and the thing that comes up again and again and again and again in the podcast, right, is like the tenacity, the resilience, the ability of nature to just recover and be strong if we let it. And to me, nobody has picked a better example, and no species has been suggested that encapsulates that more than what was suggested by the wonderful, brilliant Ray. Take it away, Ray.
Hi Jack, it's Ray from Create Change Collective. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. This is so exciting. You should be so proud of all the incredible work that you're doing. The species that I'm nominating today is the monarch butterfly. Growing up, I was obsessed with butterflies. They were literally everywhere, and my favorite part of each summer, getting to see them flutter around the gardens. And I think the monarch butterfly is really cool. It has this huge migration coming all the way down from Mexico, all the way up to Ontario, where I live. And so seeing them as a kid was always such a special piece, and something I remember fondly. And what I think is really cool about these butterflies is that there's been a lot of conservation work reintroducing milkweed into the environment so that they're more present around here, and certain populations in southern Ontario have actually seen a rebound, which is really awesome and just shows the power and resiliency of nature. And so I think these butterflies are really special, apart from being absolutely beautiful.
So 100% yes, agree with everything Ray said, right? Like, such an interesting story, because like reintroducing other species to help butterflies, so interesting, because milkweed, I believe, is the only plant in which monarchs will like lay their eggs, and like therefore the only source of food for the baby caterpillars. And like, to suggest a story that is about a butterfly that has declined, I think it's something like the Western monarchs are something like 99% since the 1980s. Eastern monarchs are something like 80% since over the same time period. Like, to talk about the resilience of nature, there is nothing more powerful than that. If we give it the space, if we give it the species, if we give it the kind of things that it needs, and the ecosystems and the things that it needs to rely on, nature will bounce back. And this is such a beautiful story, and it's such a beautiful species, right? Like, I did some reading on these guys when they were suggested, and like, the monarch butterfly is known as Danaeus plexippus, something like that, which in Greek literally means sleepy transformation. But like, at the same time, they have this like dualistic lifestyle, right? Where they have these beautiful orange, they have this name, but they have this beautiful orange wings that carry them so far, like thousands and thousands of miles. And like, they use the sun to stay on course. They have a magnetic compass to help them navigate. Like, They have a gene which kind of makes their muscles super, super efficient so they can then fly easier. They're just these like sleepy transformation, yes, but then they become the most powerful little things, which again, a beautiful, beautiful choice because people think of insects, right, as something that can be squished and small and, you know, but not these guys at all, right? And like, not only that, they defend themselves absolutely perfectly. So the monarch's colourful pattern makes them beautiful to identify, easy to identify, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But that's kind of the whole point, because the boldness of their pattern is to kind of warn predators that I am toxic and poisonous and foul tasting. And that links back to the milkweed, because it's not the butterfly itself that's the problem. It is the milkweed that's toxic. So when they eat it, that kind of is absorbed into themselves. And then they have evolved not to be poisoned by it, but like they store the toxins in their bodies. And then that makes them poisonous to predators like birds. So clever. And like, yeah. As has come up in the lemur series, as has come up again and again and again, if we give nature the space to breathe and to be, it will be. And we have, if we recognize ourselves as part of that system in which we rely on these things, there's even more of a reason to appreciate that and appreciate the fact that we shouldn't be so take all the time, right? We shouldn't be. We can't be. And the monarch, yeah, represents so much of that to me. Now, number 2, I said like each of them represents something that the show stands for and something that we try and do. And number 2 was suggested by Tasnia. And to me, it represents the need for us to think more holistically about nature. So kind of similar, right? There's the tenacity, and I kind of got into it a little bit at the end there, like this kind of, you know, ability to live in harmony. And number 2 represents the need to think holistically about nature and ourselves, and how we're not two separate spheres. We exist within one space. And this is quite a serious reason. It's not like a light-hearted, fun conversation, but it's an important conversation, and that's exactly why it's been slotted into number 2. So please, Tasnia, take it away and tell us about your really brilliant example.
Hey Jack, it's Tasnia from St. Andrews. We know each other from St. Andrews, but now I work at Brak University in Bangladesh. Congratulations on reaching 100 episodes. I'm nominating Asian elephants, and why I'm nominating them is because the story of the Asian elephants being trapped in Bangladeshi forests by the biggest and fastest growing refugee crisis of 2017 made me realize how inextricably linked human lives are to non-human lives, and how much we want to blame either or for interspecies conflict, but more often than not, it's institutions and a lack of political will that others both human and non-human lives. And they're a keystone species, and they deserve to be protected, and their story to be retold over and over again. And, I think conservationists tend to look at numbers, or this is the set number of elephants that need to be protected for you to get to a category of you're happy with the number of elephants that you've protected. But in getting to know Asian elephants, I realized how valuable each and every single Asian elephant is, and that's why I'm nominating them. Thank you.
Well, first of all, it's so good to hear Tasnia's voice. When we were in St. Andrews, we were inseparable. When we were producing the first series of the podcast, we were inseparable. And yeah, she was a guest on season 1, and then again, I was a guest on season 2, and then again on season 3. I think she's just fabulous. And there's so many reasons, right, to love what she's saying. Of course, I think what I really appreciate her about Tasnia and her way she sees the world is that she sees the value and the beauty of the individual. And as someone who's dedicated her life, like in a large part, to looking after dogs and caring for street dogs, it does not shock me at all that when you transfer that to other species, right, she is still as caring, as wonderful. And yeah, and values that individual element. And I think that's really easy to see in dogs, in elephants, but I think Tasnia has this ability to see it in everything, and it's so special. Now, to take on the biological reasons why these guys are so wonderful and should be appreciated to the absolute extent, like the Asian elephant should be beyond loved, right? Like, they are the keystoneness of it all, as the beaver, as everything else that's come on the list, their ability, as the pangolin, their ability to change and care for landscapes, so important. So important. They also spend, I think it's something up to like 19 hours a day feeding, which, I mean, we can all get behind that. Me and Tasnius did the same thing when we were in St. Andrews. They are social, they're intelligent, they can be over 5 tons. They're just incredible, unique, beautiful creatures. And while elephants themselves perhaps don't represent, to everybody something that's underappreciated, we love elephants. The story I think that Tasnia brought in there about the human element is what elevates this to me. I'm not an expert on the subject, and I wouldn't feel right commenting in great length about it. Tasnia is fantastic and has done a lot of research into this, and I think I need to have her back on the show to fully discuss this example. But to me, what I think this represents is not just this ability for us to try and find ways to live together, to work together, but also our need to hold our political leaders to account on things. If there are issues with nature that you care about, you have to stand alongside the people who are fighting for the rights and protections of humans. And equally, in many cases, if you care about human stories, you have to stand alongside the people who care about nature. And sometimes there's these competitions for funding and resources and space, and I understand that that's always going to be the case in a lot of spheres. But the more we go on and the more that we see, and over the 4 years of the podcast, I think we've seen change and change and change again, of we need to stand together. Now more than ever, we need to hold our political leaders to account. We need to see all of us as connected to each other and all of us as connected to nature. And if we can't do that, that's where we will fall down. And that's quite a harsh, maybe, take to have, a serious take to have on this 100th episodes. Fun time, yay! But it's the reality, right? And it's something that we need to, we have these beautiful things. We have the pied wagtails, we have the pigeons, we have the laughs, we have the good things. But we will not have them forever if we don't take some things very seriously. And we keep the joy inside us, and we keep that kind of desire to change things inside us. But, sometimes, we've got to go there. And I think Tasnia picked a beautiful example to illustrate that because, and I'm so grateful for her for bringing such a real and difficult topic in. So thank you so much, Tasnia. Thank you so much. And let's view ourselves as part of nature, right? And let's view ourselves as having to work in this way. And I think that's what we've got to do, what we've got to do to win. And we absolutely will, if we can do that. Now, here we are. It is now time for number 1. Now, if you've been keeping track of the scores, if you've been looking through the list of guests, if you've been thinking about things, you know who number 1 is being presented by. But you don't know what it is, which is so exciting. Now, number 1 is something that I think represents the final of the most important trio, the final of the important trio of things, right? We have this idea that nature is strong and resilient and can do anything. We have the idea that we exist within nature, we exist as part of nature, we have to share it and we have to appreciate it and we have to, sometimes we have to kind of make big, bold statements. We have to work hard. We have to kind of protect it. We have to hold politicians to account. We have to go out there and act ourselves. We have to live in harmony with these things and in a way that works and in a way that is, sometimes challenging but necessary. And finally, we have the most important thing, which is, of course, the thing that, the podcast has strived to be for 100 episodes. It has done everything in its power to be this. And this final story to me, and I think as our final guest tells it, to you, you will appreciate exactly why it's here. Because what this story represents is hope. And I could sit here and tell you why it represents hope, but I think my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friend, Robi, does a perfect job of doing that. So, without further ado, your number one most underappreciated conservation story, animal, whatever you want to call it. We've all lost track by this point, but in number one, take it away, Robi.
Hi Jack, it's Robi Watkinson here from the Institute of Communities and Wildlife in Africa and of the Zoology Ramblings podcast and the Biome Project. Many, many congratulations on reaching 100 episodes of Pangolin, the Conservation Podcast. It's been so fantastic to listen along and experience the podcast growing and going from strength to strength. The species I am nominating for your list of top underappreciated but still brilliant animals is the holy grail of ornithology, the night parrot, also known by the fantastic name of the midnight cockatoo. It's listed on the IUCN Red List as critically endangered, and there may be as few as 250 remaining in the wild. It's a tiny yellow-green pipsqueak of a bird, and it was once thought to have been plentiful amongst the old-growth spinifex forests of Australia, but there were no sightings between 1912 and 1979, and so it was feared extinct. There have been a few sightings since then. The first one in modern times was in 2005. A single dead individual turned up in 2006. But the first individual was not radio tagged and captured until 2015. And that discovery was described as the ornithological equivalent of finding Elvis alive and well, flipping burgers in an outback roadhouse. And since then there have only been 9 reported sightings and several contested and retracted records. But recently there was really exciting news. The largest known population has been discovered in Western Australia's remote Pilbara region by a team of Ngurupa Indigenous rangers and scientists. The birds were located in the Ngurupa Indigenous Protected Area and were found after a 5-year search, with the population suspected to be only around 50 individuals. And most fascinatingly, this study suggests that the survival of this remnant population may be linked to the presence of dingoes, which prey on feral cats. And dingoes are a very controversial species in Australia, but, following European colonisation, the night parrot numbers declined drastically due to the spread of invasive cats and foxes. And it's thought that the dingoes actually exclude these non-native predators from the night parrot roosting areas. And I love that. I love the night parrot. It's one of those tantalizingly obscure species that seems to defy all human attempts to understand it and quantify it. And for me, it's a reminder of what we still do not yet understand, and potentially a reminder that not all things need to be understood. There can still be some wild spaces and wild creatures out there completely exempt from our interference. On the flip side, it's a creature with a deep heritage and connection to the land in Australia. A creature that links science with the platforming of Indigenous knowledge and the protection of Indigenous land rights. The night parrot is the perfect example of how, when you boil it all down to the bare bones of it all, conservation is about 2 things and 2 things only, and that's the manipulation of human behaviour and the protection and access to land. And lastly, it's a really poignant reminder that though we might be thinking about it, somewhere out there in the wild vastness of Australia is a little bird who's not thinking about us at all.
And there it is. Number one. I can't believe we're here. And I hope you can see exactly why it is there. And I hope you can see exactly why I'm not going to expand that much more on it. Because Robi is... those people who just... You're kind of like, well, I don't really have anything to say now because you have summed it up perfectly and wonderfully. But it just is perfect, right? It represents such a perfect, clear vision of what... this podcast has always been. It's about these creatures that we don't know and we should strive to know, and they leave us clues and they leave us things and they leave us stories, but ultimately they go on, and sometimes they need our help, sometimes they disappear and they do their own thing, sometimes they just exist in a place which we will never find. And I just think that's magic, and I think it's beautiful, and it is that story. The whole time this podcast has been here, it's just been about hope, and it's just been about these stories that are wonderful and inspiring and odd and bizarre. And the midnight cockatoo, the night parrot, the critically endangered creature, represents that better than anything else. So, Robi, thank you so much for bringing it to the table. And thank you for giving me another reason to be hopeful, because I know, like a lot of our listeners, I think, like, yeah, this is just going to be something that fascinates them, and I know it's fascinated me and inspired me. And yeah, just fabulous. Like, you nailed the pitch too. Like, I was like, there's no way this, I mean, and like, after the passionate plea, I can't, like, how do you argue with that? How do you argue with that? Just the perfect number one. Robi, you're constantly inspiring me. And yeah, correct choice. Thank you so, so much. And with that, we have our top 10, 13 creatures. We have at 13, Connor's Wolverine. At 12, Franca's Dolphins. 11, Alicia's Pigeons. 10, Torrin's Boar. 9, Steph's Dandelions, and I included plants. 8, Tommy's Nandu's / Rhea's. We have Emma's Beavers. We have Indy's Wagtails. We have Natasha's Maned Wolves. Jodie's Lemurs. Up to the top 3, Ray's Monarch Butterflies. We have Tasnia's Asian Elephants. And number 1, of course, the Night Parrot. And yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better group of animals, and I couldn't have asked for a better group of friends and supporters to do this with. Like, if you let me know your thoughts, go onto social media. We're at Pangolin Podcast on everything. Tell me which one you would have put at number 1. Tell me which one you would have loved to see on the list. Something maybe that we didn't even think of. I think we got a pretty good spread, but there were certainly areas, like, we didn't have any sluggy, slimy things. We didn't have any under the sea, weedy things, like little, like, slimy, snaily creatures from deep down in the darkest ocean. So maybe someone out there thinks they should be on. And if you do, let me know, because we have 100 more episodes to go. I mean, we have an endless number of episodes, but we're going to shoot for 200, obviously. So, you know, like, let us know, and we'll try and cover it on the show. And I can't believe we're here. Like, I can't believe it. And I'm so, like, yeah. Do you agree? Do you not? Let us know. But be kind. Be kind. Be kind. And, of course, in the description of the episode, every single one of my guests' information, social media, everything will be there. Go and follow them. Go and show them love, because they are just fabulous and wonderful. And yeah, they give us reason to see ourselves as nature. They give us reason for hope. They give us reason to be inspired. They give us reason to see the power of nature, and so much more. They give us joy and story and personal, just wonderful things. And I can't thank them enough. Yeah. And that was just so silly and fun. And I can't believe we're almost at the end of episode 100. But before we wrap up formally, there is one last thing that I have to do. And of course, that is say a huge, huge, huge thank you. Every single person who has ever listened to this show, who has ever subscribed to this show, who has ever shared it or appeared on it or facilitated me going to a conference or put me on stage somewhere that I have felt the most imposter syndrome in the world, but still being able to do it, to anybody who has shown me love and support over the last few years, thank you so much. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart. There's really, like, I could not have done this without you. Like, everything that I have built, everything that I've done, every episode I've released and published and edited would be nothing without people who cared. And I have said it time and time again, and I will never ever stop saying it. Like, it's because of all of you that I'm here. You are my entire world, and I'm so grateful for it. In particular, like, thank you so much, listeners. Thank you so much. Like, I can't express how much this means to me. If you're listening to this, I was the little boy who talked too much about things that nobody cared about. I was the little boy who grew up and was made to feel terrible for loving things that not other people just didn't care about or didn't love, or was undermined, or was called things that were not fair, or was made to feel strange or whatever. And all of you have made me feel like my voice matters and that the things I do matter. And that is just the most wonderful feeling in the world, and I can't thank you enough for it. To my guests, like, again, the show would be, I would be nothing without the amazing people who give me their time and give me their energy and sit and talk me through the most powerful, most interesting, most wonderful stories in the world. The stories that have inspired me for my entire life. Like, and beyond that, like, these people don't just give me their time and give me their stories, they give me their friendship and they give me their love and they give me their support and they give me their time. They're, like, if I look back, some of my best friends in the world have come because of this podcast. In the beginning in St. Andrews, like, my first guests were like Penny, like, who I still talk to every week to this day, then Tasnia, then like all of the people who were involved in the production of that, all of my friends back then, Ruth and Jack and Joe and Lauren and like Eva and all of these amazing people who like are still here and still support it. Even if they've not been guests, they've been there. Like, and then we got to like the time during the pandemic where like nobody could go anywhere, and like the people who supported me then, my friends, my family from home, like, you were there and you held me up and you asked me to keep going and you helped me keep going. And then my friends at the zoo and at the botanic gardens that I've worked in, my friends who I've met along the way, like Connor and Steph and like Alicia and like these people who I've had just like, and Ray and Tommy and all of these people who I've met along the way who've just built me up and made me feel good, like, and made me feel like a way that like I belong in this space. Like I've never had that ever anywhere else than when I'm around nature people. I've never felt like I belonged more. And I'm so grateful for all of you, the professional contacts, the people who my heroes. Like I get to sit down with people who like, I shouldn't be talking to you. Like, I'm not that interesting. Your story is the one that everyone wants to hear, but I get to sit and talk to them. I get to meet all of these people because of the podcast and because they are so wonderful, and I can call them friends and I can call them colleagues, and they seem to respect me, and that's so strange, and I can't believe it. And to my like PhD friends I have now, like, I love you all. Like, special shout out to like Guillaume for coming with me to Bird Fair, where I got to do the live podcast that'll be coming out soon. Like, and shout out to like all the people who've built me up at every conference I've ever been at. To Charlie for organising Bird Fair. Like, that made a dream come true. I never thought I'd go to do live podcasts that are coming out real soon. Like, that shout out to everybody at NAAE, the North American Association for Environmental Education, for giving me an award for this podcast. Like, what? Like, and Biaza? Like, the same, like, these institutions. Thank you. Like, I don't deserve that. It's like, what? Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's made me so happy. And, like, to every guest who's given me space and given me honesty and given me time, like, thank you. And thank you to my family, like, to my mum and dad and sister for, like, putting up with all of my rambling and me asking them to be very quiet in the house. To every flatmate I've ever shushed. Like, yeah. Without my family, I would not be where I am. And I'm so grateful for their constant support. I'm so grateful for allowing me to pursue a career that I was told wasn't a career. And they have facilitated and allowed me to do that. So thank you. Yeah. And again, thank you to all of you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot believe I am sat here. I don't want it to end. I am sat here in a room recording the 100th episode of Pangolin. I can't believe it. Like, I can't. Thank you. Like, and I'm not saying it to be like, I'm not saying it because I don't mean it. I'm not saying it because, every podcaster when they get to 100 episodes has to say it. I'm saying it because I genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart. This is everything to me, and it's been everything to me, and it's enabled every success and every joy that I've felt for the past 4 years. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. And if if you take nothing away from this but the following: keep the childhood joy inside you forever and protect the flame when everybody else tells you it needs to go out. Make sure it stays safe. Make sure you keep the hope. Make sure you see us as part of this big and beautiful world that is nature. And make sure that you appreciate the strength and the value of all of those things. Like, yeah. And also, if you're me from 4 years ago, if you're me from 10 years ago, if you're me now, like, yeah, I hope that, like, those words mean as much to you as they meant to me when I was told them. And I want you to know that you will blink, you will work hard, and you will try, and you will try, and you will try, and you'll get knocked back 1,000 times. But, like, you will blink, and one day you will find yourself surrounded by the people who love you and the people you need to be surrounded by. You will look around and just see joy on people's faces, and you'll be exactly where you need to be. Whether that be in podcasting or writing or art or in a job or in a zoo or in a charity or in a country you never dreamed you would get to travel to. It will happen, right? It will happen. And if I can be any help to any of you who've listened and supported my show, let me know, because I will do my absolute best to ensure that you get there. Thank you so much. Now, I can't say thank you any more times. I can't, because I'm going to start crying again. But until next time, until episode 101, thank you so much for listening. You can find the podcast on streaming services all over the place, so please subscribe, rate, review, give us 5 stars. I think 100 episodes is earned. And follow us on social media. I almost wrapped up too early. You'd think after 100 I'd get it right. And follow us on social media at Pangolin Podcast on everything. And I am at the only Jack Baker on Instagram. And for the 100th time, I love you all so much, more than words can say. And until next time, goodbye. Oh, I love you all. Thank you.